Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new video and welcome to round 11 of our F1 2001 career mode. Yes, we're back this weekend here at the Temple of Speed for the Italian Grand Prix. Of course, if you missed out on the video that went live back on Monday, I would highly recommend going back and checking it out. We went to Belgium. It was a pretty interesting race, my first race back in 2025, but we did ultimately lack a little bit of pace against our big rivals. Still just 5 points in it between myself and Jacques Villeneuve with 6 races left to go of the campaign. You could even make the argument that Heinz-Harald Frentzen could try and get himself back into the fight as well there. We've still finished no worse than 4th all season, but yeah, certainly Villeneuve has had the pace over me on more weekends than not. Of course, if you're new, please do make sure you get yourself subscribed to the channel. We're trying to hit 140,000 subs here at the moment, but yeah, this circuit I am very, very nervous for. The Williams is a much better car than ours in a straight line. I'm really hoping we can get through this weekend, maximize the result, and then hopefully the final 5 races of the year are going to help us out just that little bit more. Barcelona, for example, or Monaco, we were really, really quick at earlier on in the year. But anyway, we've just got to get on with it. I love this circuit anyway. Can Ferrari finally return to form this weekend? Only time will tell. Well, we have got one little problem setting up the car around this circuit. I think it's an issue with all of these cars, but the gearing just simply is not long enough on this McLaren. So we can basically run as much downforce as I want, because we're going to be hitting that 207 mile an hour VMAX pretty much everywhere around this venue. So I've tried to find a setup that will hopefully give us a bit more straight line, a bit more cornering speed even over the AI. Of course, I'm expecting Williams to be very, very quick here, but also Ferrari. They need a good result here. They've got no chance at a World Championship this season, so they kind of just want to try and get a good home race result as well at this point. But I tell you what, Jordan, he seemed to be looking very, very quick in a straight line through the first half of the lap there as we try and shut the car through the Lesmos. Ralf Schumacher challenging Jacques Villeneuve up at the front of the order. We are slowly shifting our way towards the front, up into provisional P3. So we make our way down in towards Ascari. We'd love to try and qualify there after a bit of a rough run. Whoa, last time out in Belgium is just a huge mistake through the Ascari chicane there. That's going to really cost us down in towards the final corner. Just a huge amount of oversteer that we had no real chance of trying to catch before it happened. But one more corner to go then. Can we try and recover just a little bit more as we try and get the power down as early as we can? It's going to be P7 on the grid here. That is really disappointing. Well, big mistakes from both myself and David Coulthard there in qualifying. No one got within a second of those Williams at the front of the order, but Ralf Schumacher, Marc Genet, and Alexander Wurz, I'm sure all will be very, very happy with their qualifying efforts. Giancarlo Fisichella, he will be disappointed to be down in P17, ready for his home Grand Prix. Ferrari, they do get both cars inside the top 10, but still nowhere near where you would expect the Maranello-based squad to end up.
We're back in Italy once again for another round of the Formula One World Championship. And what a great race is in store for us today here at the oldest circuit on the calendar. Monza hosted its first race all the way back in 1922. We're 12 miles northeast of Milan for today's Grand Prix at a Monza circuit where we can expect top speeds of around 215 miles per hour. 11 corners on this 3.6 mile track, with 7 of those coming in the form of chicanes. And with a good slipstream and DRS open, there should be plenty of opportunity for some passing here today.
Well, here we are then, lining up down on the grid, ready for the Italian Grand Prix. I'm going to try and go for a very aggressive strategy here, softer mediums. But, you know, this circuit, the tyre wear shouldn't be too bad around here. Big news, though. Obviously, Mika Hakkinen for Ferrari has taken a grid penalty, but far more importantly than that, so has Jacques Villeneuve. So Heinz-Harald Frentzen now lines up on pole, so he's going to have a golden opportunity to properly catapult himself back into the World Championship hunt here. But we line up P6 on the grid, 5 red lights here at the Italian Grand Prix. And it is going to be lights out, and away we go there, trying to respond nice and tidily to the lights. Oh, there's going to be contact immediately, and we've got a virtual safety car, and we've got a 5-second penalty for a collision with Jan Magnussen. What on earth has happened? Well, watching the start then from Jan Magnussen's POV, tries to go down the middle of myself and Michael Schumacher, and just nowhere to go in that incident. Not too sure what's happened behind. There's been even more chaos. I believe that's our teammate David Coulthard that also got involved then. So you'll just see the 3 cars in front get caught out. And Coulthard into the back of Jacques Villeneuve. So Villeneuve very lucky not to be out of the Grand Prix. Hakkinen's gone as well as I believe homeboy Giancarlo Fisichella. One of the Minardis as well. But that has been chaos before we even got to turn 1. Very reminiscent, I think, of the 2003 start here. For the second weekend in a row, we've picked up a 5-second penalty before we've even made it to turn 1, so that is very disappointing for us. But yeah, somehow only a VSC rather than a full safety car for that one. Normally this game, very happy to throw out the full safety cars as often as it possibly can. Yeah, Michael Schumacher then straight up into P6 at the start. My goal is just to try and beat Jacques Villeneuve. But look at Juan Pablo Montoya, he's running up in P9 for arrows. Oh, Schumacher's gone. What on earth was that? Down to the final corner, Ralf Schumacher's made a mistake, and Jean Alesi's been caught up in it. And we've got another 2 or 3 cars out on lap 1. Ralf Schumacher, he was having his day of days yesterday, but just a little lock-up at the final corner. Hits the Benetton and takes his teammate out of what was easily one of their best chances in this campaign there. And more chaos on lap 1. I think someone else got involved in it as well. I can't quite see who. But we are down to just 13 runners in this Grand Prix. It's as chaotic as it was last season. Well, luckily, it seems like we've got the straight line speed over Rubens Barrichello. We both get up to 207 miles an hour. By the time we get down in towards turn 1, the AI very confident on the brakes. But I will force our way past Rubens there, back in towards that first apex. So back up into P5 then. We have made a little bit of progress early on. Juan Pablo Montoya's up to 7th. Well, here we go then. I can already tell just by watching Michael Schumacher through the Lesmos, that Ferrari, it has struggled all year with just no front end. I mean, look how quick it is in a straight line. That is easily that car's only saving grace. But into the corners, Schumacher just cannot put that car where he wants it to. And that's why it's been, you know, upwards of 2-3 seconds off the pace on some occasions here. So surely, if we keep it clean and tidy, we're going to be able to get the run on him. I think Frentzen has already checked out of the front of the order, but I mean, look at that. Michael, he just cannot get anywhere near where he needs to be. Well, Alexander Wurz and Marc Genet trying to put a show early on in the GP. Both of them looking for a podium here. But they're going to get very vulnerable very quickly, as we'll try and have a look down the inside of Michael Schumacher. The German will not be a fan of that one, but we've got to try and keep as many cars as we can between us and Jacques Villeneuve there, as we have definitely got straight line speed over the Sauber side by side into Ascari. Oh, that was scary, but we'll make it through. And up then into P3 of the GP. Annoyingly though, on the exit of the corner, we're not quite going to be able to get the run there, as here comes Michael Schumacher 3 wide in towards Ascari again. Genet decides he doesn't want anything to do with that one. Schumacher, luckily on the inside, will back out as well, as I mean, Heinz-Harald Frentzen, he's just setting fastest lap after fastest lap up at the front of the order. Again, as we make our way back in towards turn 1, the slipstream is so powerful in these cars until you get to 207 miles an hour. But luckily, all this battling is allowing, well, sorry, kind of holding Jacques Villeneuve back. I believe he's up to P6 already. So he has absolutely flown through the start. Well, I don't know how many times we've seen it in this series. Oh, because VSC. What on earth's happened? I think, is that Genet gone? Well, riding on board then with Mark Genet into the chicane there, going wheel to wheel with Villeneuve, and again, Villeneuve gets very, very lucky to get away without contact here. The second of the Jaguars there, that's Barrichello, just left with nowhere to go, and Montoya on a fantastic race so far. I mean, it's just chaos behind, isn't it? Loads of cars have gone in yet again. But what on earth is that? I think if you're going to look at positives, I think Minardi are probably going to score some points today because no one else is left running. I mean, already then, we are down to just 8 runners in this Grand Prix. It is pretty much a race of attrition, just like last season was here. Monza doesn't really seem to work very well with this mod. You'd think it's a modded circuit, based on the way the AI like to drive around here. But anyway, making our way through the final couple of corners. There we go, green flag racing once again then, and hopefully now we're going to get the run on Alexander Wurz back into turn 1. To the outside we will go, and up then into P2 of this GP. I can see Jacques Villeneuve running up in P5, so yeah, somehow Villeneuve feels like he's been involved in every incident so far, but has got away with absolutely all of them. But yeah, Frentzen, unless he breaks down, I think he's going to win this. Oh, that's not what I want to see already then. Your top 3 in the World Championship back to your top 3 in the current running order. Villeneuve has found his way around Alexander Wurz, and I don't think it's going to be long before he tries to find a way past us as well. We've only got 2.5 seconds in the back pocket over him. And yeah, say, now we've got some clear running. I've got a better idea of what the pace is like in this car. We are about a second a lap slower than those Williams, just based on straight line speed. That Williams car, it can probably, I think, push about 210 miles an hour, and that just makes such a difference around here. Well, the other thing I have completely forgot to factor in, of course, is that 5-second penalty that we picked up at the start. So yeah, a bit disappointed that is going to make our life 10 times more difficult. But yeah, if Jacques Villeneuve thinks because he's got the pace over us that I'm just going to let him by, he's very cruelly mistaken. Frentzen's done a 23.9 best lap. We're down to a 24.3, so when I absolutely nail it, we are not that far off. Oh no, here comes Villeneuve. Jacques Villeneuve on lap 9 then. He's going to try to look down the inside. Is he going to be able to make it happen? No, he's not. We will absolutely hold firm there through Ascari, and you know, these are the races where World Championships can be won or lost. We just got to keep doing that, keep holding him back for as long as we can. If anything, it's in our best interest probably here to make sure that Frentzen wins. I just want to know how Williams have got that little bit of extra speed in the back pocket. I understand the drive off of the corners. They've just got more raw horsepower at the moment. BMW, it's safe to say BMW knew how to build an engine when they were in Formula 1, but this Mercedes power unit in the back of this car isn't bad either. It just doesn't quite seem to have the pickup off the corners like that Williams does. This is why I was so worried about Monza, but why I'm a bit more confident for the final few Grand Prix. Obviously, Formula 1 makes its debut in Singapore next weekend. That circuit will hopefully really steer in our favour. Oh, again, Villeneuve, we've just got nothing against him. Admittedly, he's not much quicker at the top end, but wheel to wheel in towards turn 1. I mean, look how late he is on the brakes. They're actually too late on the brakes by Jacques Villeneuve in through turn 1, but round the outside he'll go, similar to Hamilton against Kimi Räikkönen all the way back in 2018. But yeah, Villeneuve then up into P2. Schumacher going to be our first front runner to peel into the pit lane. But yeah, I just can't help but feel that we're not going to be able to do much against him here. Annoyingly as well, obviously I'll have to take the 5-second penalty in the pits. I can't take it at the end of the Grand Prix, so I can't even really try and undercut Villeneuve again. I think our best bet here is just to try and stay out, and maybe we get a lucky safety car. Oh, there we go, Villeneuve into the pit lane then, so he's actually been given priority still over his teammate there, as into the 1 minute 23 we go. Admittedly only just, so the slipstream, yeah, really helping us out just a little bit. But yeah, like I said, I'm just going to stay out here as long as sensibly we can. course, the problem we have with trying to get a safety car is there's not many cars left that can crash into each other, so that's going to be a bit difficult. But Wirtz then will move up into P3, so Villeneuve's had a pretty slow stop. There we go. As well, Frentzen into the pit lane then, so admittedly it's only going to be temporary. But we are going to take the lead then of this GP. Frentzen's not even come out that far behind me. It goes to show, I mean, there's been so much chaos in this race. He's seen absolutely none of it, but at least he's not going to lead every lap this afternoon. We will deny him that. Well, everybody's lap times are still getting quicker and quicker then as the race goes on, as the fuel burns off. Coming up towards Jenson Button then, who's running in P7, so it's going to be a few more points on the board for Arrows if he can see the checkered flag. I can only guess then that a Minardi is also running in this race still, but pit. And obviously I've lapped them temporarily here, as we're going to see Barrichello and Button side by side into turn 1. Of course, the Brawn teammates a few years after this, as Barrichello then is going to get out of my way as well. So, yeah, I would assume obviously everybody else is pit. And Button has jumped the Jaguar on merit there. Luckily, he will hopefully get out of my way as well. Thank you very much, JB. As we approach the end of lap 20 then, I just don't think we're going to see a safety car by the end of the afternoon, so we may as well dive in now and stay out the way of Heinz-Harald Frentzen now. I've been monitoring the gap. Villeneuve actually has been taking a lot of time out of him for quite a few laps, but it seems like that gap now has started to stabilise again at around 11 seconds here, so I don't think Villeneuve's going to have enough to get back to his teammate by the end of the afternoon. But what a recovery drive it's been. Still able to get the better of us, and it's kind of reminiscent of Verstappen at Belgium, how Red Bull would often give him grid penalties there because they knew he could try and carve his way back through the order pretty well. Williams have utilised that very effectively here this afternoon, but we are going to return to the road then, still in P3. We'll still have a fairly comfortable gap over Michael Schumacher behind, despite serving the 5-second penalty as well. P4 for him and Ferrari is definitely one of their best results of the year up to this point, but still nowhere near where they would want to be. Well, on to the last lap then of the Italian Grand Prix. The pace between myself and Jacques Villeneuve has been getting quicker and quicker towards the end of the afternoon, finally down to a 23.1. Villeneuve, I believe, is still about a 22.7 at this point. But yeah, it's not us two, though, that have shone today. It is Heinz-Harald Frentzen in what will be a critical race victory for the German here if he wants to have a shot at the Formula 1 Drivers' World title this year. With me down the order, Villeneuve with grid penalties, he had to win this race to get himself back in the fight. And that is exactly what he is going to do here. Has controlled this race. Basically has been in the lead or net lead from start to finish there, and Williams once again have enjoyed a very, very fast race car here. For us though, I'm looking forward to Singapore. We haven't won a race since Monaco, and Singapore is definitely the closest example left on the calendar this season, so I'm hoping we can return to the top step of the podium there. Heinz-Harald Frentzen though will win the Italian Grand Prix, and a two-way drivers fight has now become a three-way championship. Jacques Villeneuve, another fastest lap on the very last lap of the Grand Prix, but through the final corners, again, a day of maximising the result we're capable of. Again, it is going to be P3 on the podium. You know what? We'll take it.
There it is then, victory in the Italian Grand Prix, an historic race, and an achievement they can be immensely proud of. Tell me, Ant, how do you think they were able to deliver such an incredible result today?
I think a large part of the result comes down to temperament. They were able to keep their heads when everyone around them was losing theirs, and that's allowed them to get the best out of the car, to maximise the strategy, and to stay out of trouble.
The drivers are en route to the podium as we speak. What a fantastic win for the Red Bull team. They performed exceptionally today, keeping us firmly on the edge of our seats throughout the entirety of the race. Congratulations to everyone at the team.
There we go then. Heinz-Harald Frentzen takes the victory by just 8 seconds ahead of his teammate in Jacques Villeneuve there. We come through for P3 ahead of Michael Schumacher, who, because of the weird glitch, will claim fastest lap on the very last lap of the GP there. Wirtz in 5th ahead of Barrichello, Button, and Alonso finally gets his first points on the board of the year. I mean, it was basically just a race of survival for him, but, you know, he survived, and that's the most important thing there. Johnny Herbert, Marc Genet, Montoya, Raikkonen, Jos Verstappen, Ralf Schumacher, Jean Alesi, Coulthard, Hakkinen, Fisichella, Jan Magnussen, and Jarno Trulli all failing to see the checkered flag. But what does that do to our championship? Well, it means there's just 8 points now at the top of the table between myself and Villeneuve. Frentzen now, the gap has been cut down to just 28 points with 5 races to go then. Schumacher up ahead of Marc Genet and Jos Verstappen in the Drivers' Championship with those points on the board. And now, yeah, Alonso back ahead of Kimi Raikkonen in a P19 overall. They're still 2 points back behind our other rookie in Juan Pablo Montoya. Constructors-wise, Williams now with a 65-point lead at the top of the table. They're looking pretty good for the Constructors' Championship, but the battle behind us is looking absolutely mad there. Sauber on 86, Jaguar on 82, Benetton and Jordan tied on 68, and then Ferrari not too far behind with 64 points as well. They're genuinely, any of those teams, I think, still could finish P3 by the end of the year. But yeah, that's going to do us for this one then. Thank you all so much for watching, and we'll be back very soon when Formula 1 heads to its inaugural race out in Singapore.